Hi, I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics and Fantastic Four Grand Design, and welcome to New God Sunday School. And today we're going to be talking about Mr. Miracle, Issue 3, The Paranoid Pill, the story of 10,000 raving maniacs. We're going to be reading from the Mr. Miracle Artists Edition from IDW. This whole issue is beautifully reprinted here from the original art with high quality photographs of the original art, so you can see all the, every little bit of detail, every bit of whiteout. You can see some erased pencils. You can see, scratches made with razor blades. It's just a really great format that I love. And this issue's written and drawn by Jack Kirby and inked by Vince Colletta. Sometimes there are things that take place in empty rooms that defy belief and so go unnoticed. The boom tube has penetrated to Earth. This is the designated room. Hurry. So, the boom tube device is it's just like a really good, story element for a series, because it's like it shows up and then something exciting is going to happen. Somebody's coming from another planet and you don't know if they're from Apocalypse or New Genesis. Are they good? Are they evil? The things that emerge from the boom tube are animates, manipulated by the power of a single mind. These furnishings must be placed in precise order. All this must be set as a stage for the animate chosen to perform. He must be carried with utmost care. The chosen animate is now in a favorable position to await entry by the mind force. Stand away. The mind force begins to take possession of it. I love the urgency of this scene, the way, it's almost like a super efficient movie crew or something, set or a stage crew putting the set together as quickly as possible, behind the scenes at Saturday Night Live. The mind force acts. Think of a living, thinking being that exists as pure energy. Think of this living being as a personality without a body. The mind force enters and fills. But there are times when this unseen personality must manifest itself in the physical world. And now I emerge. And so it uses animates, incredibly complex mobile forms in the image of man. To look as I once did, to be as I once was. It does so now, appearing as line and contour and startling individuality. So this is a really neat sequence, and it is almost like one of those how to draw demonstrations. We're seeing a rough sketch become, a fully detailed drawing. And so these animates, these sort of, robotic mannequins with no features are taken over by this mind force of the villain, Dr. Bedlam. Just a big difference between Kirby's Marvel work and this, Fourth World work he did at DC is the stories begin so stylishly and with such purpose and individuality. You think of the previous issue of Mr. Miracle with everything going on through the eyes of Overlord's view screen, and then you have this where you have these mannequins hustle into a room, and then one of them is chosen to be the receptacle of the great god. Kirby was going for it. You see that time and again in these Fourth World series. He was just really going for it. I breathe, I move, I feel. Study the face, look deep into the eyes. The mind force peers back, and it is evil. It is done. And now to my task, to subjugate and break the spirit of the young rebel who dared to reject the powers that rule his world, and the master I serve, the great Darkseid himself. Here on Earth, by the simple act of lifting this primitive instrument men call a telephone, I shall begin the little charade I have planned. The rest of you animates may return to our world apocalypse. We shall await the mind force. The boom tube and its occupants fade, leaving in its place a blank wall. It's Dr. Bedlam calling, and he's going to spring a trap that is as simple and foolproof and sinister as his own existence. Read what lies in store for Scott Free, who is Mr. Miracle, super escape artist. Open the door of terror and drop the paranoid pill. Drop the pill and all this kind of stuff. It does make me think of, this sort of late 60s, early 70s era that these series are coming out of, and just kind of, the drug culture and take this pill and go on a trip. Mr. Miracle is in one of his death traps, practicing for this act that we never actually see in the course of the series. We see him practicing and training, but we never actually get to see him, perform one of his shows. This is like a backstage series. Got the legs cut out of it early. So if it had gone a couple more issues, maybe we would have seen the Mr. Miracle stage show in black and white without the colors, without seeing, that, okay, this is Mr. Miracle's costume and stuff. It does look like he and Oberon have some sort of bondage set up with the leather mask and all chained up, exposed chest, like a whip in the background. Are you daft, Scott? Who cares about the phone? You've only got seconds to escape those bonds before that granite block falls on you. Practice pays off, Oberon. Mr. Miracle beats death by a full second. If this is his bare chest, he is more or less a luchador with that mask. This could be like a wrestling outfit. I always thought that would be like a good, if you were going to reboot Mr. Miracle, to maybe reboot him as a wrestler instead of an escape artist, something a little more relevant with a lot more story possibilities and reasons for him to encounter, other colorful opponents. Oberon picks up the phone. He gives it to scot-free Mr. Miracle. Wow, what a voice. Yes, that voice, I'd know it anywhere. It's like the sound of rats digging beneath the floor. His name fits, too, Dr. Bedlam. I like that description. I like the way they describe Darkseid's voice, and I like the way they describe this voice of Dr. Bedlam, of rats digging beneath the floor. I wish, Dr. Bedlam would have shown up in the Super Friends or something so we could get, maybe, what Frank Welker's interpretation of that would be. Hello, this is scot-free. State your terms for battle, Dr. Bedlam. Very well, I shall meet them. And so throughout this series, we have a series of duels of honor where he's challenged by his former captors, the ones he got away from on Apocalypse. Another visitor from this mysterious hometown of yours, Scott? No comment, eh? That means we're in for trouble. How serious is it, my boy? It's the worst, Oberon. Dr. Bedlam would ordinarily be an unbeatable foe. But Motherbox operates in Dr. Bedlam's own mental kingdom and serves as a shield against his attack. Without Motherbox, one would be completely at his mercy. I get it. This character is some sort of super hypnotist. He attacks the mind. Glory be! How about citizens like myself? We have no such gadgets. And who knows what this Doc Bedlam is up to? It's something to worry about, Oberon. Even Motherbox is reacting in alarm. But never fear. His business is with me. He is here to devise a trap from which I can't escape. Bah, he'd have to be your equal to do that, my boy. Say, why don't we just call the police and arrest this Dr. Bedlam for making threats on the phone? Sit down, Oberon. You can't visualize the kind of enemy we face unless you truly experience the effects of his powers. Oh, I've been in show business long enough to meet his type. They're usually lean and shifty and full of hocus pocus. I feel like this is foreshadowing the appearance of Funky Flashman in a later issue. That this character that Oberon's describing is Funky Flashman. Wrong. Now think of all your childhood terrors. The little boy awake in the vast dark night, listening, looking, trembling, because something in the darkness is making sounds. Hey, you're scaring me. No, preparing you. Now touch Motherbox as I do. Let her signals take command. This is like one of those spooky sessions with a medium. So yeah, we're getting sort of like a digital seance into a sci-fi realm of ghosts and demons. Motherbox is drawing us into the unknown, into a large formless dimension. Scott, the lights, they're growing dim. Don't move, Oberon, and above all, don't break. Did you hear that? Things sliding in the shadows? Then they all come out, the beasts of the night, the terrors that have always lived with men. Ah! Easy, Oberon, I see them too. Now resist them. Yeah, this issue is inked by Vinnie Coletta, and Vince often, simplifies things, takes shortcuts, erases things that he doesn't feel like inking, but he creates an atmosphere with his inks that not too many other inkers of Kirby do, and it really does work well for these sort of creepy horror segments. And I really love this image, and yeah, I'd love to see what Kirby's pencil drawing is, but I mean, the Coletta inks and stuff, it has like a really nice H.R. Giger look to it. Stand fast, Oberon, no matter what happens. Scott, I'm numb with frost, and you're... Yes, I'm aflame like the blazing fire pits on the world apocalypse. I like these references to apocalypse, reminding you of the larger universe we're in with, references to his mythology. This is creepy, scary stuff in a superhero comic. And this sequence where, they got the extreme cold and then the extreme flame, it makes me think of like the Gom Jabber from Dune, or the scene in the Lou Ferrigno Hercules where he sticks his hand into this thing, and like he's trying to get some kind of sword or something, and first his arm's turning into ice, then it's turning into flame. It's just really fun stuff. After an eternity it passes, and in the fading darkness, maniacal laughter fills the chambers of their souls. Oberon, it's over. Don't faint now. Please, Scott, give me that one blessed option. I'd like to faint now. But you did fine, Oberon. Why, you've got the heart of a lion. All that happened. It was so real. It was real. It was Dr. Bedlam reaching out for us. And now I must go to him alone. So, just really setting this villain up really nicely as this really frightening adversary that attacks through the mind, attacks with terror. We've got this opponent built up, and now it's time for the showdown. As Mr. Miracle arrives at his destination, his patient, confident foe prepares his next move. I can sense my quarry approaching. It's time to set the fatal trap. Come into my parlor, Mr. Miracle. The chips are down now, and the words liberty or death very real. Scot-free, in the name of Great Darkseid, ruler of all life on Apocalypse, surrender yourself for punishment or die in the trap I've been empowered to devise. Spring your trap, Bedlam. I've no doubt that it's a diabolically clever one. Clever, yes, because it's so simple. I'm sorry that you didn't heed my arrest order. Now you must face this. So an arrest order, referencing some backstory that Kirby never followed up on. I guess, it was Dr. Bedlam that issued the arrest order for Mr. Miracle after he escaped. A pill, so that's it. So yeah, the trap that he has for Mr. Miracle is a pill. He was expecting some big complicated device, and instead it's a very tiny, simple thing. You know the code of combat. You cannot tranquilize an adversary. He must be equally aware to take full advantage of what weapons he possesses. My dear boy, the pill is not for you. It's merely the spark that activates the trap. This is just, as far as like superhero comics go, this is such a cut above. Kirby's like really putting a lot of thought into this, coming up with inventive ways of doing the superhero slugfest confrontation. And it's these characters, these men of action against these older, more insidious, more diabolical planning villains. Behold the trap, the entire building known as the Chandler Towers. To defeat me, you have merely to descend to the lobby level and exit to the street. Sounds simple enough. I see, but I don't suppose you're going to make it very easy, are you, Bedlam? Frankly, no, lad, for in this building, going to and fro for their own individual purposes, are literally thousands of Earth folk. They're ordinarily a conventional, self-disciplined lot, but not on this day, scot-free. You demon, I'm beginning to see. Ah, yes, the pill, this should change all those lambs into wolves. I drop it so into this floor ventilator system, which honeycombs this building. Then poof, the pill becomes vapor. Vapor that will reach and enter every room on every level. Vapor seeded with the madness of paranoia. Vapor that will turn every human between you and freedom below into a hostile, dangerous, raving maniac. Between you and freedom, an army of unreasoning, unpredictable, unstoppable enemies. Ha 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 ha. No metal, no gimmickry, no medieval chain or link for you, my boy. My world is of the mind, and all its twists and turns that lead it into the pit. You, Dr. Bedlam is gone. Only his animate is left. So this is another one where, I like that, he kicks him, and then, the evil, ghost of Dr. Bedlam is gone, and just the robot mannequin remains. He's kind of like that blue guy from the Thunder Agents. Meanwhile, in every office in the Chandler Towers, strange scenes take place. Someone here wants to kill me. It's the UFOs. They've landed. I don't have to work here. I'm needed in the president's cabinet. You ruined my typing. You lie. Let me out. I'm being held prisoner in here. Take cover. These corridors are crawling with robbers. From every doorway and every corridor, madness in all its horror spins into a wild frenzy. Kill, kill, kill. Angry voices, people breaking down the door. Bedlam's paranoid pill seems to be working. With my aerodiscs, I can leap by the window. Our bargain didn't rule that out, but no sooner does Mr. Miracle touch the window. Cosmic current. Dr. Bedlam has sealed the building, so there's only one way down. Suddenly, I knew there was a foreign spy in here. He won't escape us. We'll stop him. It seems I shall still have to use my aerodiscs. So, kind of similarly to Forever People #3, it's like, Kirby's talking about some real world issues, what paranoia does to like ordinary people, that all of a sudden these people are sort of infected with these imagined enemies, these imagined slights, these sort of imagined attackers from all sides, and conspiracies against them, and they're ready to kill. Mr. Miracle makes a convenient scapegoat for them. Kirby's giving some real thought to this stuff, and he's seen panics. He's seen the Red Scare and McCarthyism and things, and he's even seen like the panic, that affected the comics industry. So he understands what happens. And I also think, just knowing Kirby, he would talk about how, he'd be walking down the street and he'd see like 3 guys and he'd imagine, oh yeah, what if I had to fight those guys? How would I take them out? And that kind of thinking that he had been doing since he was a kid, that sort of daydreaming, ended up coming in very handy, when he, was making superhero comics. And I feel like this probably grew out of that same kind of thinking where he'd be in like the Madison Avenue offices of Marvel or something and just kind of thinking like, yeah, what if everybody in this building tried to attack me? How would I get out of here? I love this image. I mean, it's just really great, in your face kind of stuff. And the aero discs are such a cool gimmick. It's great to see them again. Without much room to maneuver, Mr. Miracle uses his utmost skill to launch himself into the building corridors. A flying demon. He'll destroy us. Kill him, kill him. Bedlam was right. Ahead of me lie 50 floors filled with howling enemies. Throughout this issue, they mistake him for a demon. They refer to him as a demon. And I feel like, this is before Kirby came up with The Demon, his comic. And I feel like that could have almost been the name for Mr. Miracle, just from his costume design with sort of this, Mephistopheles kind of cape. In his mask design, how there's like, little horns. Here, that could almost be his name, the Demon, and the Demon just seems like a natural sort, he's got that luchador look, and the Demon just seems like it could be a natural name for a luchador, there's like El Santo, there's the Saint. I'm sure there's a luchador named, the Angel. Of course, I'm guaranteed there's a luchador called the Demon. So it feels like, so when Kirby was called on to create another comic, it seems like the name The Demon was just kind of ready to go. They're going to bar my way with that table. It won't give me any room to fly. And again, this is just like a really cool idea, for a superhero comic, that he's not being attacked by a supervillain. He's being attacked by an army of ordinary people, like ordinary people who are freaking out. And they're a real threat, and he's in a confined space. And also he doesn't want to hurt anybody. So it's a very dangerous situation. And you feel like a real danger and tension here in a way you don't ordinarily feel in a superhero comic. We're in uncharted territory. I mean, Kirby has done, and other superhero creators have done stories where, somebody's getting attacked by, sort of brainwashed ordinary people, but never on this scale. I've never seen it on this scale before, and as clearly defined, where it's like you have to make it from the top floor to the bottom floor of this building. Almost, again, like a video game. Like his Fourth World feels like it really, that these comics would make amazing video games. Hold the table high. He'll crash right into it. Kill the demon. Don't let him harm us. This position allows me to fly close to the ceiling. It's a tight squeeze, but I'll get by. I like that. I like the physics of that he lays down on top of his aero discs to get as close to the ceiling as he can. They're using me for target practice. One of them is bound to get lucky. And Kill the demon. An open elevator. Perhaps I'm the one who's getting lucky. Going down? Sorry, sir, you'll have to wait for the next car. I've passed 5 floors without incident. Now, if my luck holds, I'll make it down to the lobby without injury to them or myself. You didn't think you could get away with this, did you? Ha 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 ha. Click. Easy, easy, mister. You're just too smart for me. I couldn't hope to slip by you. He's got his thumb on the emergency stop button. Sorry to upset you, friend, but this is where I get off. The 45th floor will have to do. What? Here he is. Grab him. That's him, all right. He's the one who's putting the spell on us. He's a demon. Look at him. Look at his face. That's right. Only a demon would look like that and dress like that. Wait, don't panic. I'm only wearing a costume. This, having lived through the satanic panic of the 80s, all this stuff feels very familiar. Like one caught in the grip of a violent sea, Mr. Miracle allows himself to be borne along by the driven mob. Dispense with the demon. Can't make my move yet. Don't want to cause them injury. Hold him. Don't let him get away. Look out for his devil's power. This trunk ought to hold him. We found it in this office mailroom. Now the demon will be at our mercy. Come to your senses. I'm not a demon. Don't lie to us, demon. You can't fool us. And so they put him in the trunk. They close it. They chain it up. And then we get sort of some classic stage magician stuff where they start stabbing into the trunk, and he's dodging everyone, with the help of Mother Box. Her signals are probing their every move, enabling me to shift before I get punctured. I've got to act now. And then the box tumbles over because they're throwing him off the ledge down this the remaining 50 some floors. This is a pretty good cliffhanger for a comic. He is thrown off the edge. I've waited too long. The chances of my escaping from this are 10 past 0. These books were bi-monthly, so you had to wait 2 months to find out what happens to Mr. Miracle as he hurtles to the ground floor. The next issue, pretty fucking awesome. This is a great issue too. We're getting into 2-parters. We're 3 issues into the series, into all of these series, and we have the beginning of a multi-parter in Forever People #3, and here we have the beginning of a 2-parter in Mr. Miracle. So it's kind of like you do some done-in-one stories, and then once the series is rolling, you kind of start expanding stuff and have some cliffhangers and some 2-parters. Is it true? Has Dr. Bedlam, with the air of the paranoid pill, devised the perfect trap for Mr. Miracle? It would seem so, but one can never be certain when dealing with a super escape artist. Watch that hurtling trunk. Watch for the next sensational issue of Mr. Miracle as he prepares for the closing jaws of death. I really like these, final panels where, Kirby's got the verbiage teasing the next issue, and they get even better when Mike Royer starts inking and lettering the series, just because his lettering is just so amazing. This is, just part of the language of comics, this sort of hyperbole, and you would see it, we associate this sort of hyperbole with Stan Lee, but you would see it in Kirby's comics with Joe Simon. It also, just reading this, it's making me, the way it sounds, the cadence of it makes me think of the Batman TV series. I can picture this being read by, I forget the guy's name, but he was like the producer of the Batman TV series, and he would read, what's this? The Caped Crusaders trapped in a vat of gummy bears? And Vincent Price as Egghead? Will our daring duo crack up? It kind of has that feel to it. And so I feel like even though the precedent is already there, that Batman TV show was, fairly recent around this time. It was a couple years gone, but I feel like Jack's channeling that a little bit in this end blurb. I'm ready for the next issue. It's great, and the series is just going to keep getting better and better. Thanks for joining me. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics and Fantastic Four Grand Design. And I'll see you next time for New God Sunday School.